Okay, so we have some examples here of the Chinese parts versus what's maybe Chinese parts, but maybe isn't. So we have a ball joint here. This is for the Toyota ball joint. This is actually AC Delco brand. Well, I mean, that's what it says in the box. And then we have a made in Japan ball joint pressed in here. Is it actually made in Japan? My experience is AC Delco, probably not. AC Delco is notorious to be made in China. That's one example of it. And we have a lot of this stuff here that is made in China. Rubber gloves. We use these for working on cars and stuff. We can just take them off, throw them away. Yeah, they're cheap. They don't last forever. We don't need that. One more important thing is companies like Makita. This is their new saw blade for our chop saw. And you can see on the back here, maybe you can see that or not, we have Makita USA, Makita China, and Makita Canada. It gets to be a gray area, like where is this one actually made? It doesn't actually say. And when you buy Makita tools or any tool, if it's made in China versus Japan, it does have a lower quality. We're to the point, though, it doesn't matter where it says it's made. That doesn't guarantee that's where it's made at all. And now we're even getting more complex to where if it's made in Japan, are they now outsourcing parts from China? Well, I don't know. It definitely feels like China's taken over. And we had this a few years ago. It was really bad. And then we kind of seen it fade back a little bit. And now it's back tenfold. We won't get into why that's taken place. You probably already imagined. But that's my experience with the Chinese stuff. And now we're getting to the point to where almost all this stuff is made in China. Almost anything, anywhere. And, you know, all the wood we're buying is all made in Canada. Or not made in Canada, from Canada. Unless we buy it from a local sawmill. And that's it. Are these cabinets made in China? I don't know, probably. Who knows? You know, everything, everywhere you look, it's definitely a crisis situation. Hopefully we get it fixed. It's looking like that's not going to be the case, though. All right, guys. So today we're talking about Chinese parts. It's been a saga. It really has. You know, it started out a few years ago. We were having problems. You buy parts off eBay or Amazon. It's Chinese knockoff parts. Not even knockoff. It's just a clone, a no-name clone, right? But you could buy like a cam sensor for $15 instead of $100. And then as time evolved, the Chinese started cloning the actual part. What I mean by the spark plugs, by sensors. They'll print out the Nippon Denso box, the NGK boxes, and you can't tell the part from a genuine part, right? So I went through that for a little while. That happened. That's still happening. What's going on now is when we go to buy parts for any of the cars, we're trying to buy parts, genuine OEM parts, just so it works, right? Just so you get it to work. And at that point in time, buying stuff genuine from a verified retailer off Amazon or eBay, like the Toyota store, the MGK store, the Bosch store, you still get the parts, but the parts are very expensive. The other side of that, you go to the dealership, you pay even more for the same part. And a lot of those people on eBay that selling the genuine parts are Toyota dealerships throughout the country. They'll mark stuff up and down a little bit. So you can still buy good parts like that. The other problem is some of the genuine parts are now being made in China. A lot of the Toyota does it a little bit. BMW does it. Chevy, Ford, Dodge has always done it. Has always sub-hired these parts to be made in China factories. And so when you pay the big monster money for the OEM parts, you get them and they're still Chinese parts. They're slightly better quality than some, but a lot of times they're not. And, you know, we've gotten bare radiators before for BMWs, and they're leaking out of the crimp-on gasket where the tank crimps on. And then you go buy a Chinese one for $50 instead of $250, and it works. And you get to a weird spot. And it used to be how everything would function 10 or 15 years ago. if your car had a part that was known to break and you bought the dealer part again, it would also wear out in the same amount of time the first one did, prematurely. Then you could go buy an aftermarket part, a better aftermarket part that would last longer. They fixed the problem, right? That used to be the way it was. I would say 10 or 15, I would say more like 20 years ago, that was the case. And that was the aftermarket, the whole thing then. And it's definitely evolved a lot. But now it's dirtied up, murkied up the waters, and the factory parts, it's becoming a problem. You know, for any new vehicle to get in here, we're trying to find the best parts we can, paying monster money for it, and a lot of times you get in, it's the same as the cheap part. And you can't hardly win for losing. It's getting harder and harder to build any kind of car anymore in this day and age. It really is. You know, so you got to really look out on buying anything at all. It's kind of a weird video today. It's hard to explain. I've had so many brush-ins with this in the past. It's hard to sit here at one point in time and just pick out a bunch of stuff because it's many things over many years and it's still ongoing. You know, the latest problem was with the ball joints on the Toyota. If you watch the Porsche channel, we've been posting some Toyota Sequoia videos on there. And try to get ball joints, OEM ball joints, is nearly impossible, and you're going to pay dearly for them. And then you got to make sure they're real. They're not some fake Chinese clone. It's very difficult if you're not buying from a supplier you know very well. Even if you are, they might be buying it from a new source that may not be legit. And it's going to get to the point to where not only like AutoZone or Rallies and Advance, they're pretty much all Chinese stuff anymore. There's very little anything but Chinese parts there. And it's going to spill over into the dealerships, going to have the same problem. And our precious Amazon stores where you could buy coil packs right from the horse's mouth. All that's going to fold up. Where we're going to be after all this is done, I really don't know, but it definitely is something I had my eye on for many years, and you should too. So that's my thoughts on it, guys. Stay tuned for another video very soon. We'll see y'all later.